Sound. The meeting consisted of electing officers, selling books. We had a slideshow with real slides put on by Eleanor Dwyer of Lighthouses. And of course, on these events, we usually go out and see at least one lighthouse and sometimes more. And this was no exception. This is the New England Lighthouse Lovers logo. This was developed by Ron Foster. And you notice when you look at the 6 New England states, Connecticut is in red, and the reason for that is where the event is being held. These badges are either 2 1/4 or 3 inch in size with a pin on them, and you can pin them on. In later years, we added postcards to the event. Just a brief map lesson for those people in particular that don't live here in New England and haven't traveled around and as familiar as some of us are. If you look at the state of Connecticut, on the east side is Rhode Island, on the west side is New York, and on the north side is the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. The lighthouses are all along the south side, which is where Long Island Sound is. We're going to start the tour on the very right next to Rhode Island, and we're going to work our way westward all the way down toward Greenwich. The first house we're going to look at is Stonington Harbor. This is open. You can go in, you can climb it, and it's also a museum. This is a fascinating feature you don't often see. What you are looking at here is the cistern where they collected the rainwater off.
Well, we have Richard. Is this still playing?
Nope.
He touched it.
I tried to unmute it.
What did you touch?
Who knows? Come on. We need something to go on.
Hold on. It's thinking. Don't touch it.
Welcome.
Wait. Where are we? About here?
No.
No. No more?
No more. That's good.
Right there. Okay, hold on. Now I gotta share it. Share screen. And go.
What you are looking at is the Fresnel lens that they had here in the lighthouse at one time. One of the purposes of the New England Lighthouse Lovers is to raise money for lighthouse preservation.
Yes.
And this particular lens here, in order to keep something like that out there where the public can look at it, you have to have it protected. So if you look closely, you'll notice it's in a nice plastic case, and where the arrow is on the lower left, that's where there's a plaque I'll show you in a minute. This is the plaque that is inside the plastic case. One more look at this, and you can see from this angle, you can see the plastic case now better, and where the sign is where the arrow is on the lower left-hand corner. You notice the check is for $900 for that plastic case to protect the Fresnel lens. Ron Foster is on the left, and next to him is his wife, MJ, and then the other 3 people are part of the museum lighthouse. This is the picture taken from the steps on the top, looking down the nice stone steps, which also have low clearance. You can see here that there are actually people up in the lantern room, and you can go up and take pictures of whatever is going on out in Long Island Sound. This is where we find our next lighthouse at the Mystic Seaport, and what you're looking at here is the whaling ship Charles W. Morgan. Now, one of the things that the New England lighthouse lovers do is have a spring and a fall meeting. But after a few years, we added what is called lighthouses, hot chocolate, and you. So you'll see some of these pictures, very few, with actually snow in them. This was taken at Mystic Seaport in the winter. And that is usually held about the second Saturday in January. This was never an official lighthouse. It's actually a replica of Lynde Point, but it does have a real Fresnel lens in it up at the top. Next lighthouse is Morgan Point. This is an interesting piece of property here. The original lighthouse, and then they put an addition on it. This is actually a private residence, no longer an aid to navigation. The person lives on the other side of the country, but in January they made it open and available for us to tour the lighthouse. It was much appreciated. Now you're looking at the lighthouse, and you're going to see the lighthouse on the left. There are many of these similar type structures all around the Long Island Sound area. The part on the right, one story, that is the addition they put on. So you're looking at those glass windows. That's actually the living room where you can sit there and look out at Long Island Sound and watch the boats go by and things. It's just beautiful. This has been beautifully restored inside and out, and it has a caretaker to take care of it year-round. We're now in the addition part, in the living room, looking out at Long Island Sound. You're looking at the water there. Not too many boats in January when we were there, though. No sailboats in January. Now, from this picture, you can see on the right-hand side, that's the original part we're going to look at next, the original lighthouse. Oh, did I mention the owner of the house is a collector? This is a museum besides being a lighthouse. These are actually bells off real ships that were collected from, I guess, around the world. On our way up the stairs to the second floor and then ultimately the lantern room, one of these bells is on either side, left and right, as you go up all of these stairs. And notice the nice woodwork. And appropriate bedspread. We're now up in the lantern room. Notice that the bench goes all the way around, and it's a nice, comfortable place to sit and look out and watch the activity on Long Island Sound. This is one of our NELL members, and the state of Connecticut has license plates for dedicated to certain causes. This is the Avery Point Lighthouse after it was all restored, and this is right at the where the Thames River comes out into the Long Island Sound. To raise money for the restoration, the Avery Point folks sold bricks, and some of us went down and actually helped put these bricks in. I just carried the bricks over for the people that knew how to lay them. Nell also bought a number of bricks. When we got done with some events, we had money left over, so we just bought some bricks. I took a picture of my brick because it's really hard to tell how these all came about. For example, at a meeting, we often have a 50-50 raffle. The winner many times will say, put the money to preservation. Another case, we may have a speaker who declines the check, and again, we put the money toward preservation. So when you look at a name, you don't really know what was behind it. In addition to that, we had many NELL members go down there and spend hours and hours volunteering, putting in the walkway, painting, and doing all of the things that had to be done to get the place back in order. The records do show that we gave almost $3,000 over a number of years to Avery Point to spend on the costs of things. We got inside. There's one ladder that goes right straight up to a landing almost at the top. And is usually the case, once you get up almost to the top, there's a short ladder like this one that will take you right up to the lantern room. This is actually Sharon Pagels. She was the third NELL president, and she's also my model for this particular picture. This is the lantern room before they put it back up on top with a crane after it was all restored. And you notice if you look over on the right, you'll see our next lighthouse. NELL donated $1,500 to buy the door for the Avery Point lighthouse. When we toured Claire and Lucky Clark's two lighthouses in Burlington, Vermont, with their son Rob also assisting, they were the most gracious hosts, and they would not accept any money. So we bought some more bricks for Avery Point, but the name that appears on it would be Lucky Clark, etc. Yes, this is our next lighthouse, New London Ledge. And this is an atomic submarine just going out to sea. And those are the officers probably up on top there at the moment before it goes down below the water line. This is the boat that we use to get out to the lighthouse. Now remember, you are on the University of Connecticut Avery Point campus, and they have a program called Project Oceanology, and this is the boat that they use to take out students, etc., water samples and that kind of thing, fish populations, etc. New London Ledge. Nicely restored. As you travel around this country looking at lighthouses, you will find that this one is unique. It is one of a kind. One of their volunteers that greeted us and was very glad to see us gave us a tour, and you'll see as we go through. This is a four-story building, actually, and they've got a sign as you go in right away so you can see where different things are and where you might want to go. This is the basement, and you can see right away this pipe coming down is where the weights come down to rotate the lens or ring the Fong bell or whatever. And the door at the bottom is where they can open it if they need to get at them. This is what's holding up everything down there. Over the years, we have left an impact on this particular lighthouse. This is just one shot before they actually got involved with the restoration. This was just kind of scraping stuff down initially. The rest of the pictures are all going to be now after they did the restorations. They have very nice displays and photographs of things on the wall. Black and white photos back in the 1950s. Meet Ernie. And notice on the lapels there, he's got those little emblems. And if you look inside, you can see there's a K for keeper. So he's the lighthouse keeper, as opposed to a 1 or a 2, which would be first assistant or second assistant. Up we go. And eventually you get up inside the lantern room. This is a picture of the first badge that Ron Foster made for everybody attending the event at New London Ledge Lighthouse. It's got a pin on the back. You can pin it onto your sweater jacket. Now, as you go up the Thames River, Avery Point is on the right, and on the left is New London Harbor. This next slide is New London Harbor, and the picture has been taken from the public roadway, and that is okay. But often happens with these lighthouses, maintains the tower and the light. What that results in is the person that buys the dwelling posts the thing heavily. And they're right. They own it all except for a narrow driveway getting into the property. This is what you often are confronted with. And it turns out the owner's driveway is not the public driveway. Twice, NELL has managed to get a group of lighthouse enthusiasts into this lighthouse. The first time I got there, I noticed this truck kind of squished between the bushes and stuff, and I looked at the license plate and I said, oh, U.S. Coast Guard is going to be our host today. The door was open, so in we go. Up we go. Our Coast Guard lady is a little camera shy, but it was a pleasure to see her and have it open for us. They have a nice Fresnel lens up there, and you notice when you look at this on the right, you see the red panel. So if you're coming over with a larger boat from Long Island, you don't want to see the red panel because that's not the shipping channel. Notice that the roof of the lantern room is black. This is what the beach looks like on the front facing Long Island Sound. The second time I got into this lighthouse, we did it by going first to the Maritime Museum in New London, and they have arrangements where they can take out a small group of people at a time with a chaperone to be sure that everybody behaves themselves properly, and you now can get into that. Now, we started way over next to Rhode Island there where it says begin on the right, and we've now moved over to Saybrook, Old Saybrook, Connecticut, and that is at the mouth of the Connecticut River. This is Saybrook Breakwater at Outer, and it's out at the end of this breakwater so that boats out there in the Sound can see it and know to head for it. You walk out on the breakwater to get out there. The door is open. Made in Boston, Mass., brought down here in pieces and bolted together. This is a fixer-upper. From the lantern room, you do get an opportunity to take a nice picture from the outer back to the inner, Old Saybrook. This is the lighthouse that's featured on the Connecticut state automobile license plates. This is Lynde Point, which is also known as Saybrook Inner. Notice that Lynde Point has a red lantern roof. This is very unusual. This is a tall lighthouse, and most of the stairs are going to be metal or stone for tall lighthouses, and these steps are all wooden. All wood up at the top, too. Even the straight ladder at the end is wooden. We're going to get into the lantern room. And it looks like they have a nice Fresnel lens up there. This is the next lighthouse we're going to see, Faulkner Island. This is a relatively small island, and it is really controlled by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service because there are birds out there that are endangered species, and they build their nests out there, so they don't want people walking all around stepping in the nests, and they blend right in with the sand, so they're not that easy to see. So because of that, the island is closed. However, their personnel and some volunteers are out there. So you got to be careful because you just can't walk in and figure no one's there. Now, it is open once a year, sometime after Labor Day on a Saturday, Sunday. And you have to make arrangements with the Faulkner Island Preservation Group, and they will take you out to see the lighthouse. This is the only lighthouse on this slideshow that I didn't go with a NELL group. However, on a NELL group, I met this nice couple, and he explained to me how it works, and he said, I'll give you a call. And one day he called up and said, this is the weekend. I said, I'll be right down. So I made reservations, and down I went. But he actually got me on a private boat to take me out. Couldn't be much better than that. These are the boats that they use to take you back and forth. This is where you dock, and you can see it's a small dock area, and then you just walk up the steps there and over to the lighthouse, which would be open. Up you go the bank in here on these steps. And the door is open. Now notice at the top here, it's an unusual situation. In order to clean the windows on the outside, you've got to come about a floor below that, come out on this stairway they've got here on the left, and go up on the outside to the top where you can walk around. But there's no way of getting from the outside inside the lantern room without going up and down these steps. This is where you'd come out the door and up the steps. Needless to say, they have these things locked. You go out around and up these steps to the top. Again, the typical metal steps, not wood. We just kept going on the inside staircase all the way to the top, inside. And back to Guilford, which is where the marina is and where the Faulkner's Light Brigade has their staging area. Just a quick look at the map again to see where we started. Rhode Island on the right. We worked over now heading west or to the left. We're now at NH New Haven, and then we're going to continue along till we get to New York State. And that will be all the lighthouses in Connecticut. And we're doing this all along Long Island Sound. We're down in New Haven, Connecticut now for our next lighthouse. This one you have to take a boat out to see if you want to get a close-up shot. Southwest Ledge Breakwater. No place to land the boat, and it's not open, so this is about the best you're going to do. When you're here, you look at the right, you got that tall one. That one's on land, and that's the one we're going to see next, 5 Mile Point. This lighthouse was built from the same architectural plans as Ship John Shoal, which is down in Maryland. The only difference is that one is painted a dark red color. Notice the red light on top, channel marker. Notice in this picture we have a second lighthouse in the background way over there. That is on land. That's 5 Mile Point, our next lighthouse. This is 5 Mile Point. The building on the right, the red one, is actually the former keeper's house. The lighthouse is on the left. Now this is actually a park where you go in there, picnic tables, etc., etc. And I suspect in the season they probably got it admission charge. This one is right on the beach, and in the background what you're looking at is the city of New Haven. Here we are, lined up, ready to go in. And we were very fortunate that NELL was able to make arrangements with the park rangers who were there and actually opened it up for us on a day when the park really wasn't open for merry-go-round, swimming, etc. Stone steps to climb. This is from the Lantern Room. That building you're looking at right in front is where the carousel is, but that was all closed up. Presume way up there in the distance is the bathhouses and the beach and everything. This is our next lighthouse, Stratford Point, and I believe this place has Coast Guard personnel living there year-round on the premises. A perfect weather day. And you notice a John Deere tractor there to mow the lawn. You can see that these lighthouses require continuous maintenance. I guess on the backside they have the windows secured. The lower flag is the U.S. Coast Guard flag. The Fresnel lens was on the bottom floor, so they've evidently still have it, but they don't have it in use. Metal stairs. You can see our host is the U.S. Coast Guard, and behind him you can see that the lighthouse is right at the edge of the land. The lens. When they talk about Stratford Point, the point now is to the right there. It sticks out a little ways, and it also may be shallow there too. And this obviously wasn't taken at the same time as the other pictures. You can see when it's foggy out, the light comes on. This is the other Stratford lighthouse, Stratford Shoal. There's no dock to land. I would guess from that concrete block they had a ramp that went down to a floating dock, but with nor'easters and stuff, those floating docks don't work too well. Looks like it's still an active aid to navigation with a light in the backup and the solar panels. There are the solar panels down there on the first floor. Stratford Shoal is similar in looks and design as Race Rock. However, there is a line going up the middle of Long Island Sound that divides Connecticut from New York, and this is on the Connecticut side of that line. We're now down to Bridgeport, Connecticut, and this is a breakwater light, and it also is looks like it might be the entrance to some sort of a chemical plant. You see a green light up there in the lantern room. This kind of industrial property doesn't look like the type that welcomes tourists. Lucky for us, it's right on the channel here, so we can get a very good picture of it. In need of some restoration. This is Black Rock Harbor, and it's sort of on this little sandbar peninsula here. There are times when you visit a lighthouse that looks like it really needs some restoration work. There are times when you get to a lighthouse and it is being restored with scaffolding and tarp and everything. And of course, that makes a lovely picture also. There are times when you get there and you think maybe it has been restored, but the weather doesn't cooperate. And then everything just falls into place. So this is the restored Penfield Reef Lighthouse. I hope these people down below on the boat taking pictures now of Penfield Reef realize how lucky they are to hit it on a nice day and it's all restored. Notice that Penfield is actually a red colored light. See the back up at the top? It's more visible there. This is Peck's Ledge at sunset. If it were open, how you would get into this lighthouse is you'd put your boat right next to the ladder and you go all the way up, almost to the top, and then it goes to the right, and you would go there, and you'll see on the next picture. Once you get 2/3 of the way up, then you slide over to that ladder on the right, and you go up the rest of the way. Now, what they have is a boilerplate door, which I'm sure they have a padlock on, so you just can't push it open, and that's how you get up inside of there. Looks like it's just been painted fairly recently. We're now down to Norwalk, Connecticut, and we're going to have a bigger boat. Nell did, but they give boat rides down here and take you out to the next lighthouse. You never know what you're going to run into when you're out here in these waters. This is Sheffield Island, which has been restored. And again, this particular architectural style of building is common in this area. This is the back of the building. The door is open. It's always a good sign, and it's about 4 stories up to the lantern room at the top, and you can see there are people up there. And look what I discovered, screwed right to the kitchen wall out here. They got the flat irons on the stove in case you want to iron your clothes. A nautical history display. You often see pianos in lighthouses. We're now going to go up to the second floor. Before the days of indoor plumbing, you notice there are no lamps on the dresser, probably no electricity there. Some of the guests just take their own picture. Up we go to the lantern room. We end up now inside the lantern room at the top. And you get quite a view from up here. A nice setting sun to our right. Our next lighthouse is Green's Ledge. And again, it's not open, no place to really dock or anything, so you just go around it a couple times and take some pictures, and that's about all you can do with these. Notice as we leave this lighthouse, it has no roof going all around the first floor out here on the deck. Though it looks similar to the last one, notice this one has a roof going all the way around over the first floor. Metal roof that keeps the rain off you. This one here is certainly in need of some restoration. Again, similar architecture, and this is Great Captain's Island. This is an earlier time when it obviously needed much attention with all the rusting. This slideshow represents a 2-decade endeavor with NELL going to various lighthouses.